Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be getting a little off topic. I'm going to show you guys how to cut your own hair. I got an email from someone asking, how the hell do you cut your own hair? So I'll give you guys the best possible tutorial on how to cut your own hair. I'm going to try to keep it as simple and as quick as possible. Right now we got some pretty long hair. What I'm going to do is a modern undercut. I've been cutting hair for about almost 20 years now, so I know a thing or two about cutting hair. I've always cut my own hair. Sometimes, every once in a while, I'll go to a barber shop or something, but I've been cutting my hair for mostly like my whole life. So I'm going to show you guys a few quick tips on how to save money and cut your own hair at your own house. So what we're going to basically be doing is we're going to be keeping this long on top. I like the length. It's just a little bit, it's basically to the middle of my eyes or so right now. And what I'm going to be doing is we're going to kind of pull back some of this hair. We're going to cut this down to a number 3. And what you want to do before you get started, anytime, this is huge, make sure your sink is clean and everything, because anytime you cut your hair, the hair goes everywhere. Now, I would personally even like remove any rugs or anything, take any shirts off, anything that you do not want to have hair on it, because anytime you cut your hair, it gets everywhere. So if you don't want hair on your stuff after you cut it, even if you wash your clothes, sometimes it stays on there. So anyways, take the shirt off, let's get started. Alright, so before you cut your hair, obviously you're going to need to set up a mirror or something. I typically actually use my camera, so that way I can like zoom in and get super into detail and kind of hold it back like this. But since obviously we're recording a video, I'm going to be showing you guys with a mirror. So I definitely suggest get the mirror as close as possible to the other mirror, because you'll be able to see it in a bigger frame. Then if it's like really far away, it's going to be kind of harder to tell where all the lines are and stuff, right? So another suggestion is to try to make the mirror, obviously I only have this gigantic mirror, you could probably use a smaller one if you wanted to. Personally, I put it at an angle. So this mirror is at a bit of an angle, right? It's angled down, and it's also angled out. You do not want the mirrors to be parallel with each other. You do not want them to be parallel with each other, otherwise you won't be able to see behind your head. You want it at an angle, that way you can see in the back. Alright, let's get started. Before we get started, let's talk about Tiege Hanley real quick. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. They are my skincare routine sponsor. Makes a very uncomplicated skincare routine for men. It's very easy. They have the AM moisturizer, the PM moisturizer, very simple. Makes it super easy. Put the AM on in the day, put the PM on right before you go to bed. They also have the scrub, the exfoliating scrub that you're gonna use, the wash, the daily wash, make sure you wash your face. They have eye cream as well as super serum. It's gonna make you look a lot younger. So definitely, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you check out Tiege Hanley, link down below. Real quick, if you guys have never cut your hair before, when you get a hair cutter, mine's rather expensive. Most of them have wires and stuff, this one doesn't. But what you need to know is right here, when it's all the way down, if you look at it, all the way down, that is a number 3. When you extend this thing out, mine has different levels, marks each one like half, 3/4. Some of them don't, some of them just have like a little lever. Basically, when it's all the way extended, that's gonna be closer to a number 4, so it's gonna be like 3 3/4. So make sure you are aware of that. And we're gonna start off at a number 3 on the sides, then we're gonna go down to a number 2.5, then we're going down to a 2, etc. basically. And you basically, before you cut your hair, you kind of want to pick out lines on your head on about where you want the numbers to go to. Sometimes people want a very quick fade that kind of tapers really quickly, and some people want more of a long one. I generally kind of want like a longer one that's going to have like an even fade throughout the side of my head. So let's do that. Alright, I'm going to miss this hair, but let's do this. Let's get started. So gonna take a number 3 all the way down to a number 3. You can either pull your hair out of the way, or you can just put it in a man bun. I don't really find it necessary to put it in a man bun, so I'm just gonna keep it out of the way to the side. You can kind of switch when I get to the other side. Generally, what you want to do is you want to take the comb and you want to kind of pick out the line on where you're going to be cutting it to. If you're going to be cutting all this off, obviously you're going to leave that down. If you want it up, you're going to leave it up, so that way it's out of the way. now that that is taken care of, we now have a number 3 that goes all the way around my head. In the middle is still completely long. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go down to a number 2, kind of simple. We're gonna pick out where we want it to go to. It's a number 3 on top, so we're gonna start fading it down. So I'm gonna put a number 2. I usually pick this little corner where the hair meets right here. There's like this little corner. That's usually where I start to fade a little bit quicker. So it's more of like a longer. So it's gonna be like 2 to 3 up here, and then it's gonna go 2, 1, 0, really small. So that's just me, but everyone, the more you do it, the more you'll get a hang of it, basically. All right, let's continue. And also, real quick, huge tip, as you're cutting your hair and you're getting close to the line, what you wanna do is you wanna be pulling away. So go up and away. You don't wanna keep it on there, right? You wanna kind of pull it away, and that's what's gonna cause the nice little fade. So pull it away as you get up, pulling it away. There might be a different way to do it, but that's how I've been doing it. All right, so once you have that number 2 on, again, you're gonna wanna pick the line where you're gonna want it to go, and we're gonna have a straight number 2, no halves, none of that stuff yet, just straight number 2 first. Now get that line, go all the way around. Personally, what I do is I kind of go down just a teeniest bit when you get to the back of your head, but it's all preference. Another quick tip, if you're a little worried about cutting the back of your hair, it's kind of scary, right? At first, if you aren't used to it. Personally, I don't even need to like look anymore. I just kind of go with the feel. But what you can kind of do is you pick that line when you're looking straight at the mirror, go around like this, and just kind of keep that little spot that you touched in your head. Just keep it in mind as you're cutting around. Stay below that line, obviously. All right, now normally what I would do, so now that we have this little line right here, obviously there's gonna be like a bit of a bump, right? Because we went from a number 3, which is 3/8 of an inch, to down to a number 2, which is 1/4 of an inch, just barely smaller. So there should be a little line there, unless you're really, really pulling back, which I am. So you can't see it as much. What we're gonna do now, normally I will finish this off and I'll do the 2.5 right in the middle. Then this little area is faded. What we're gonna do next, just for the videos, we're gonna go, so we're gonna pick between this, so this is where the number 2 starts. We're gonna go between that into the bottom of my sideburn is going to be a number 1. So we're gonna go down to a number 1, then below that we'll do a 0. Let's do this. All right, now that we have a 2 right here that goes all the way around from this little corner, then we have a number 1 that goes all the way around between the corner and the bottom of the sideburn, and that goes literally directly around just between those two. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to a 0. I'm actually gonna do a half though. So half of a 0. So we go 0, we're gonna click it down, 1, 2. If you guys have a cutter that does not have the clicks, then just go about in the middle. So we're gonna go down to a half. All right, so when you are cutting your hair and you're picking out what lengths and stuff, obviously with a 0, you can see a bit more, of a little cut right here. So basically you're gonna wanna pick little markers on your head. So for the number 0, I went to the tip of my ear right here, and I went straight back like that, and just a little bit lower in the back. As you can see, if you zoom in on the back, as you can see in the back, it goes all the way around. That's where the number 0 is, and it goes down from there. Obviously, I gotta clean my mirror a little bit. This one's kind of dirty, sorry. Before we get to the fading portion, right now we have a number 3 that goes right here on top, which I picked out the corner of my head. Right here in the corner where this hair meets. 3 right here. Number 2 goes down to this little corner right here. Number 2, the 1 is right here at the top of my ear, right? And then the 0 is down below, which is just a half. It's not a 0 because I didn't want to go all the way down to a 0. I might in the very back, just at the very back, but we'll see right now. I like to keep it a little bit longer. I don't like to go straight down to a number 0, but let's continue now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put on the number 2. We're gonna put the 2 back on. Here's the 2, here we go. Putting the 2 back on, and we're gonna do, so we have a 0, Now we're going to go to a half, and we're going to do right between the 2 and the 3. So the 3 is on top again, 2 is right here. We're going to go with the half right between both of them, and we're just going to kind of pull it away. As you cut, go up and pull it away. Trust me, that makes a huge difference. Alright, so now that we've done that, I'm going to go actually stretch the number 3 or number 2 all the way up to almost a number 3. We're going to just do this little portion right between. It depends on how intricate and how nice you want your fade to be. Obviously, if you want it to be really good, you're going to go 3 3/4, 3 2 3/4, 2 1/2, 2 1/4. You don't really have to do that all the time, but I'm going to real quick just for this little top portion, because you can still see that little bit of a not fade, whatever, hard cut. A little trick for when you're doing the back, you can kind of hear it. You just want to hear just a teeny bit. Once you've cut it all the way down to number 3, and you're going up with the 2 1/2, obviously you should barely hear any hair cutting, just a little bit, but you do want to hear a little bit if you want to do it by feel. Some people are going to look like completely in the mirror. I usually don't, especially for like these small numbers. I just do it by sound, so it's up to you how comfortable you get. But don't be too scared. Don't be too scared. It's not that hard. Alright, now that we have the 2 to 3 faded, what we're going to need to do is the 1 to 2. So we're going to just go to put a number 1 on, then we're going to go to half. We're going to do right between these two, kind of fade them together. Okay, now that we've done the 1 1/2, basically all the way around between the 2 and the 1, it's pretty obvious. It's kind of, you know, you get the trend. You just go down, 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 right? But it is very important to pick the markers on your head so that way you know where to go, especially when you're cutting your own hair, because you can't really see as well as when you're cutting someone else's hair. Trust me, it's way easier to cut someone else's hair than it is to cut your own hair. So, obviously, I'm going to take that off. Now we're going to go to a 0. I'm just going to stretch this out to almost a number 1, basically. And we're just going to do right between, and then we are done. And we're just going to do a little bit of cleanup. That's it. Alright, now we have a nice little fade that goes all the way around my head. Not too hard. It's about 30 minutes. It's up to you guys if you want to cut your own hair. Personally, I've been doing it for years because no barber is going to cut my hair as well as I want to cut my own hair. So I take that back. Some barbers are actually better than me. But I like cutting my own hair because I can do whatever I want with it. It's a nice little thing to learn. And basically the final touches of what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a little bit on the hair, top real quick. I'm going to show you guys what I do with that. We're going to use these thinning scissors. What those are, it's basically scissors that have, it's not a straight cut, right? So it's only going to cut like, I don't know, 25% of the hair or so. Just going to kind of thin it out so it'll make it a little bit easier to style. But what we're going to do real quick, I'm going to go to a number 0. I'm going to go maybe just like a teeny bit up. So not a 0, but like a 1/4. And I'm going to go around just on the bottom so it kind of fades into a 0 basically. Personally, I like fading into the 0 because honestly it's a lot easier than it is to cut these lines in the back. It's a lot easier than cutting those into like straight lines, you know, and making them even, because anyone can notice from far away if those lines are not even. So I always just fade it to a 0, but it's up to you guys. Because this little line, I would almost recommend always asking someone, but you can cut it if you want. Anyways, I go to a 0 though. Alright, so now that the fade is done on the side of the head, we're going to start, and it looks like a haircut right now. We're just going to add a few little finishing touches. What we're going to do is just go around and cut right here with these little thinning scissors. Don't cut all the way down, just kind of cut a little bit. You want to pull it up, have just maybe like a 1/4 of the hair exposed from your hands, and just cut right along the top. Just cut all over until it looks good. And obviously when you pull up your hair for this specific haircut, you want it to kind of fade in just a little bit, but not too much. It's mostly a longer haircut that you can style to the side. Obviously, once you're done, you're going to want to go around and just make sure, just touch up anything. Most of the time, it does not turn out perfect first try. You're just going to go around and kind of go over the numbers if you see any little gaps that you missed or anything. What is very important, and is a huge tip I should have put in the beginning, is you want to press hard on your head. You don't want to be like super gentle to where you're not really cutting it evenly. The harder you push, basically, when you're going up, and the harder you pull out, the more accurate your haircut is going to be, basically. Anyways, starting to look like a nice little haircut. We're gonna do a few more things, and then we're just gonna wash our hair. Basically, for the sake of the video, we're just going to I'm gonna go over a few little things before I wash my hair and everything, and do all that. You know, what I personally use is I use sea salt texturizing spray. Just throw in a little bit, kind of add some texture. If you do not have sea salt spray, you can also just use a bit of baby powder. Baby powder works almost as good. Almost as good. Just put a little bit in your hair. Just kind of go around like that. Kind of add some texture to it so your hair will do what you want it to do. Otherwise, it's going to it doesn't work as well. Just adding a little bit of powder is going to texturize it nice. Personally, what I use for gel or wax, I use this stuff. It's not a sponsored ad. Do not get paid for this. This is just what I use. You just add like little bits here and there. Obviously, I need to wash my hair, but I'm not going to do that in this video. So just add a little bit here and there with this thing. Just a little bit. Make sure it's broken up all over your hands, not just in little clumps. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. And that's about it. And then you can kind of do what you want with it. I like mine nice and messy. Before we end this video, one thing that's very important to keep in mind is when you get in the shower, when you come out, you're probably going to notice some imperfections, basically. So don't put all the stuff away. Usually you will notice bits of like imperfections that you didn't notice until you got in the shower. So keep in mind you might have to do some touch-ups after. Might turn out pretty well. Might do like a little bit of a little cleanup right here. But other than that, it turned out pretty good. As soon as you get out of the shower, kind of want to put on that. This is not a sponsored ad either. It's the sea salt spray. Just throw a little bit in there. I'm going to mess it up a little bit. Let it dry, or use a hair dryer. Personally, I use a hair dryer. Sometimes I also use a straightener. Just any cheap straightener will work. Personally, I just use this straightener. I've had it for like 10 years. It works just fine. Throw it in there. Straighten your hair. Don't. Who cares? Some people call it gay. I don't care. I like my hair to look good. So if you want your hair to look good, use a straightener. It works. Otherwise, blow dry your hair as soon as you get out. Hopefully this video helped you guys out and you guys have a better idea on how to style your hair. Hopefully, if you're trying to go with something similar to mine, it's probably a very helpful video. Otherwise, at least pick up a few tips and tricks from the videos. Anyways, thank you guys. If you guys haven't yet, like the video, please, and also subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys. Look at all that hair. Nice things about this haircut is you can kind of do like the old school Justin Bieber if you want, like how it goes up in the front, push it down a little bit in the back. You can go with a straight to the side, or you can go straight all the way back and go very slick gentleman style. So it's up to you. It's up to you on how you want to style your hair. But personally, I like the messy look. So we're gonna mess it up. But anyways, let's end on a horrible note. Hair everywhere. All right, peace, guys.